So, hello everyone. Welcome
Hello.
to the first, well, actually, not the first. This is the Vtuber Podcast, but it is the first between me and Pending. It is a revival of an old Vtuber podcast started by Pending.
Yes. Back in like 2018.
2018.
I guess.
Yep. Yes, definitely 2018.
Back in the olden days.
Yeah.
and we ran for like 3 episodes.
It was
and then I realized,
amazing.
Thank you. Then I realized at the time, it's like, well, I was gonna do this podcast about VTubers, but like at the time there wasn't like enough to talk about.
Yeah.
Like to sustain a weekly podcast, at least on the English side. Now there would be.
Yeah.
Now there would be. Now the name would make sense, but I don't think we're going to spend a lot of this podcast actually talking about VTubers. So now the name makes no sense.
So yeah, that's the thing about this VTuber podcast. We're gonna talk about whatever we like. There is no rules to whatever we want to talk about. We'll just like topic after topic. We can of course talk about VTubers as well. We can of course do that, but we may
failing that though, the VTubers are us. This is the VTuber podcast.
Exactly.
You and me are VTubers.
Exactly. That's why this is the Vtuber podcast. It's like
this is the VTuber podcast. Copyrighted in 2018. Please do not check the copyright.
Exactly.
I
no
promise.
check.
It's there. It's there.
Absolutely true. Absolutely legal.
Please assume that there is a copyright.
There is proof online that the VTuber podcast was started in 2018 by Pending. There is actual proof online
that it existed at one point. Yes,
exactly. So you cannot check for copyright. Okay, do not doubt us.
Yeah, don't check the copyright. Don't go to like the trademark bureau thingy. And you don't worry about the trademark. The trademark lives in Canada. You haven't seen it. Haven't seen it.
Exactly. I mean, the trademark's like so far away, nobody can get to it.
Yeah.
It's in Saskatchewan or something.
I don't know if you actually know about Asu.
Yeah.
So you live in Malaysia.
Yes, I am.
So I don't, and I live in Canada. However, in the U.S., there is like this joke. Like this old joke, it's like, who's your girlfriend? I have
the
a
person
girlfriend.
Up in Canada thing? Yeah.
I mean, you don't know her though. She lives
boyfriend
in Canada.
Thing. I remember that. I know that joke. I think they actually made that into like, because have you seen the movie? What was it? Inside Out, the Pixar movie Inside Out.
Is that the one
with the people inside the head
emotions?
Thing? Yeah, the emotions inside the head thing. So
yeah.
There was one part in the movie when they went into like further into the girl's head, and then they got into this part where it's a guy being manufactured in the head. It's a boy, like a pretty boy.
Okay.
And that's her imaginary boyfriend from Canada.
That's clever.
Yeah.
There was a nod to that in Star Trek Lower Decks 2.
They did
where
do that?
the main character's girlfriend, like no one believes that he has a girlfriend, and when it turns out that he does have a girlfriend, she serves on the USS Vancouver.
So she really is in Canada.
Yeah, technically yes.
I was wondering, how are they gonna put Canada into Star Trek? And the USS Vancouver. That's actually genius. I like that. I like that a lot. But talking about that, I still have not checked out Lower Decks, and I feel like I might enjoy that show.
I think it's worth giving a shot to. Here's the thing. I think Star Trek fans in general enjoy Lower Decks. Some feel that it kind of falls under the umbrella of like new Star Trek that they feel is like too far away from what Star Trek used to be. Like it kind of makes fun of and undermines the whole idea of Star Trek of Federation people being exceptional.
Yeah,
because they're all kind of like not that necessarily smart at just kind of doing a job.
Yep.
So it kind of Orville's it.
Yeah, the idea is that lower decks are supposed to be the people that's not really in the elite sense, as like just like janitors or something like that.
Even like the officers in Star Trek Lower Decks, they're kind of more zany and not like the Star Trek Next Generation styled officers.
Not the serious type. They're like very not by the books anyway, kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That being said, it's clear that Lower Decks has a lot of love for the source material.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is actually like the way I see it, like can be the most important thing.
Yeah, and it's pretty funny. A lot of the jokes aren't necessarily my brand of humor because they do go for a lot of raunchy humor, but there's also a lot of funny stuff too.
Yeah. Which is why I think that...
Which I guess the raunchy stuff is funny as well, just funny to different people.
Exactly. No, like me, I don't mind raunchy jokes, raunchy humor. So I probably might enjoy it. The show, I mean, not like raunchy humor in general. I mean, I don't mind it. I don't seek out raunchy humor.
Asu exclusively subscribes to raunchy humor.
Yeah. I mean, the subscription's only like $2 a month, so you know.
Oh, that's not bad. Actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At $2 a month.
It's easy to justify $2 a month.
No, actually, it's kind of bad because raunchy humor, it's $2 a month, and you get maybe 2 lines of jokes in that month.
Really, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
So, like, you wake up in the morning, you read for like 30 seconds, and you're done.
Yep.
That's worse than like Twitter's like limits.
Exactly. The Twitter rate limit.
Yeah. Did you hear? So, for context, if anyone is unaware, Elon Musk put rate limits on Twitter. Basically, if you don't have a verified account, if you don't subscribe to Twitter Blue, you can only view up to 1,000 tweets in a day, which doesn't sound like it'd be that bad. Like 1,000 sounds like a lot, but the thing is, if you're scrolling through your timeline, every single one of those tweets counts.
That's considered as one, yeah. And here's the thing, that is something that they do now after, backpedaling and revising.
Yeah, it started at 600.
They revised live, by the way. It started at 300, not even 600.
I
was there during the 300, and it was horrifying.
Asa was there back in the day when Twitter only allowed 300 tweets.
300 tweets only. After the 300 tweets, you just get all this rate limited. But here's what I found out.
Yes.
So I have several people that I decided that I'm gonna put a lot of people that I really want to read their tweets to in the notification bell thingy, right? So you press the bell so that these people, they come up in your notification. And
so you found a way to ration Twitter.
That's the thing. I didn't exactly ration it. So they'll be in your notification. They'll come out like new tweets by this and that person kind of thing, right? And they list out everyone you have. Now, I was rate limited before I found this out. Because I was like, scrolling to the front of the Twitter just a little bit. And then suddenly it was like, oh, it just keeps on having that loading time thingy going on. Right?
Yes.
And I was like, this is weird. Then I was like, okay, I'll just check notifications, and then some people are tweeting. So I click on the tab of people tweeting in my notifications, because you press the bell, and these tweets load up, all of them. There's no rate limit exceeding when you check from your notifications. Everything load up, even new ones. After my rate limit exceeded, they still load up, right?
Although that being said. That might end up being a loophole that's closed, because originally, if you used TweetDeck, that would get around it too. But today they closed that loophole.
That's the thing, though. That is a loophole that they might close, but I don't know how, since this is actually on the Twitter's website itself, right?
Yeah.
So, but then
I don't know.
The thing about those tweet notifications, though, right? So some of them are people replying to other people. you get the replies of the person you followed, right?
I assume reading replies also counts towards your ration of Twitter.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
So, but then here's the thing, because you see the reply, you don't see the original post, right?
Yeah.
So I click on the reply to see what the original post is, to see what they're replying, because the reply seems interesting. But then the original post would not load up. Oh, and even when you click on a reply, it says rate limit exceeded.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of a loophole in trying to read tweets from people you already have notifications for. That's about it.
Musk did say that it was temporary.
Yep.
But when he originally said it was temporary, I was thinking like he was talking about a day, maybe 2, and now we're on like day 3 or 4 of it, and I'm starting to wonder, is this maybe not as temporary as
he might just be bluffing? Yeah, he might just be bluffing about that.
So there's 2 things. One is like, it's implied that the reason why he's doing this is because AI companies are combing Twitter to use for training their AIs, which is something that he doesn't like, in part because he doesn't like OpenAI specifically, probably in part because he has his own AI development thing that he's working on, and he doesn't, and he wants that one to be the one that is used. But the other thing that he hasn't said that I've heard is that he hadn't been, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard that he wasn't paying for like his Google servers or something. So now that contract is up and he no longer has that. So Twitter has less capacity than it had pre-July. So this might be a measure that he put out there because they just lack the server capacity to meet traffic demands now.
If that one's true, then Elon actually
if
skimping on you're a billionaire. Why are you skimping on your bills?
Twitter has been skimping on bills left and right. They've also like with their landlords have been unhappy with them too for skimping on bills.
The building that Twitter's in?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think more than one landlord too. I think there was also a building in England or something. That was a Twitter place that's been skimping on the rent. So I don't know. It seems like Twitter is being kind of cheap.
I mean, I heard, but like we know this is something that was revealed when Elon first took over last year, and we found out that Twitter is just a sinkhole, a money sinkhole. It doesn't generate any profit for, even back when Twitter first started. It just never generated profit, despite all the ads and stuff.
Well, so a lot of these internet startups and social media companies and whatnot survive for a long time on angel investors, like people that are pouring money into it because they feel like if you have high traffic, like if you have a lot of eyeballs on your website, then eventually you'll figure out how to monetize that. You just like they see the potential in it, so they're willing to invest money to help it grow and keep it afloat. And that was, I guess, a big part of Twitter for the longest time. I don't know if that stopped before Elon took over. Like, I don't know how Twitter was raising money pre-Elon, probably with a fair amount of borrowing, but
I also think it might be why Twitter was insistent on getting the courts to make sure that Elon buys them.
Well, so the contract that he signed to buy it, like, was a huge overpay.
Yep.
So like, after he signed that contract and then he started trying to back out, Twitter really, really did want to make sure that he ended up buying Twitter because like if you have an old like 10-year-old car that is worth like $200 and someone signs a contract with you to pay $1,000 for it, and then they say, no, actually, after thinking about it, after looking at this car some more, I don't think I want to pay the $1,000. You take the you tried to force them to honor the contract because like you're about to offload a $200 thing for $1,000
Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I also, it's like that's the thing. That's what I'm saying, right? It feels like Twitter's a money sinkhole, and its worth isn't as big as people think it is, right?
No.
So
it's
the moment
it's
Elon,
probably not.
Yeah, the moment Elon was like, even though he started just as a joke of a tweet, and then but contract was signed, so that's the big mistake there. Why did he sign the contract and then suddenly wants to back out?
I mean, it's hard to know, like, because we can't get inside Elon's head. If I were to guess, I would think that he was probably somewhat conflicted about it, because I think there was probably a couple trains of thought. One was that he liked the idea of controlling Twitter because he liked the idea of having control over this huge social media platform, which he was himself a big user of. So now he gets to be the boss of the whole thing, the thing that he sees as like this town square. So I'm sure that has appealed to him beyond like whatever monetary value it has. And then he also like had this aspiration of, I want to make an everything app similar to WeChat and all that in China. Yeah. So he wanted to make like this all-purpose app, and I'm sure part of what he was thinking in his head and rationalizing to himself, well, Twitter might not be worth like what I'm offering to pay technically, but if I took Twitter and used it as the foundation of my everything app, then eventually, I'll make my money back.
Yeah, I remember.
So I imagine that was part of his thinking. But I think
definitely.
Probably at the same time, there was also another part of him that was saying, there's no, I'm overpaying so much. There's no way it's worth what I'm doing.
Yep.
I should back out.
Exactly. I mean, he definitely thinks that. I mean, there was, upon acquisition, right? He actually had a tweet asking like, what do you guys think about live streams on Twitter? And it's like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, well, I think he renamed Twitter. Man, this is turning into a podcast that we really should have done research for, but well.
No. We know that's like Vtuber Podcast is we talk about whatever. There's no research required. We're just gonna talk and just like have people commenting on how we're wrong or stuff like that. That's just the way it is.
Hopefully we're not spreading misinformation.
No. This is just what we think. This is just from what we know. That's all. From what we think, from what we know.
What we think we know.
Yes,
we might
exactly.
be wrong.
Yes. A bit of disclaimers. We're not 100% sure of what we're talking about when it comes to real life stuff.
Yes.
Though we do look into a lot of these. Though if we're mistaken, we apologize. We are not spreading misinformation. We are not saying like, this is what is saying. This is what it is. No, we're not saying that. We're just saying stuff that we know. That's all.
Does WeChat have at all a presence in Malaysia?
Yes, it does, but not strong. WhatsApp is stronger.
WhatsApp is stronger. Can you explain WhatsApp to me? Because I've never used it, but I've heard it. I've heard of it.
So WhatsApp is basically just a messaging app. Basically, it's it's a messaging app, but you can send audios, you can send videos, and all that through the messaging app. It's something like Discord, but I don't think there's a web app. Oh wait, there might be a web app. I think there's a web app, but not a desktop app. Yes.
So what's the appeal of that over, say, just messaging people via like texting on your phone?
Because for one thing is the WhatsApp only uses your internet, uses internet and not your phone data. They use phone data. Sorry, they use phone data if you're offline.
Right, but they don't charge per text like a phone might.
Exactly. So that's why a lot of people prefer to WhatsApp, and it was an easy access thing. Also, for Malaysia, probably WhatsApp because it came first, kind of thing. Like,
so people just kind of got used to it.
Yes.
I feel like that's a lot of social media now.
Yep.
Like people might not like Twitter, and if these latest like limiters on Twitter stay for a while, it will probably encourage people to try other Twitter-like things. But people are also used to Twitter, so like all things being equal, they'd be willing to stay on it just because, like, you know, they already understand it.
Exactly.
They don't really want to go through the hassle of moving, and even if they were willing to go through the hassle of moving, they don't know if their friends are going to go. They don't know if the people that they follow are going to go.
Yeah, their audience, their people.
Yeah, will be interesting because, like, Blue Sky is coming out soon, I assume, and then apparently Meta is making their own version of Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about the Meta one, but I was told that it's going to probably integrate with Instagram, which would be handy. Like, if it just like is essentially an extension on Instagram, so it's like you don't have to do an additional sign up to anything. You just have an account by virtue of already having an Instagram account. Then it would have a built-in user base already, and it would probably make things easier.
I can also see them integrating that with Facebook as well, since, you know, Meta owns that. So people who has Facebook, who has Instagram, can probably make an easy move towards their new Twitter. Like, what would you call a Twitter page? Like,
I don't know. But you know what's funny now that I think about it? Like, Elon Musk bought Twitter and like has aspirations of making the everything app. I don't use Facebook. But that being said, Meta is so much closer to making that everything app than Musk is.
For sure. I mean, especially when they bought over Instagram, and also WhatsApp is owned by them as well. So
is it? Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Meta own WhatsApp as well. So they have messaging, WhatsApp. They have their own Facebook Messenger as well. So, you know, this and that.
Yeah.
Although I think you can link
Facebook also to video.
Yes, they do, and also live streaming. You can even live stream through Facebook. Yeah,
and I know that's not popular here, but I think you mentioned that Facebook live streaming is popular.
Yeah, it's pretty big in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yep.
So okay.
Like celebrities actually use Facebook for streaming. I mean, but it's starting to get a little bit waning. Like, a lot more young kids are going towards Twitch, less YouTube though. Funny enough for live streaming, but a lot of Malaysians are going towards Twitch.
I feel like probably part of the reason why they're going towards Twitch is because Twitch is the one with the name recognition.
Yeah, I think
and it also comes back to what I was saying about Twitter. Like, social media platforms tend to grow because they already have the audience. Because people want to go to where other people are. And I think what you see when a social media platform dies is, at first there's a slow trickle away from it, because the most passionate users are the ones that are most likely to be annoyed enough to change. So like a certain subsection of the community is willing to experiment with other ones, and maybe they decide, okay, yeah, I'm sticking with this one even though there's not that many people there. and then slowly more and more people drift towards the new platform, and then you hit this critical mass point where there's enough people in the new platform that casuals of the old platform are willing to hop onto the new one, because that's the one that's seen as cool now, and that's the one that has enough people, and you want to be part of the new thing. So and then like the old thing becomes a graveyard, and not all social media platforms will go through that.
No,
but I think that's kind of the death of a social media platform happens slowly and then all at once, is basically what my theory is.
Like Friendster.
Yeah, or MySpace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that, do they still exist? Hold on, I gotta search for this.
I think they still exist. I think it's used in music circles some.
Oh, okay.
All I know is that the guy that like created it, Tom, was smart enough to sell MySpace back when it was still worth tons of money, and now he is living his best life.
Okay,
so you know what?
I'm searching a little bit of Friendster here. On the Google search page. I haven't looked into it. It says Friendster was a social network game based in Mountain View, California. Social network game? No, wait. No, that's not right. Founded by Jonathan Abrams and launched in March 2003. Later, the company became a social gaming site based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Oh, hey, Friendster was local.
Yeah,
or at least local for you.
But wait, what do you mean by social network game?
I didn't realize this. I don't think I ever really used Friendster.
Yeah, I mean, I knew Friendster as sort of like a connective. It's, I guess, social networking.
Yeah,
like because
it's funny because
the beginning of social networking before social network was actually the term for it.
Yeah, it's funny because like I never really used MySpace either because at that time I just didn't care much for social media.
Okay, okay, I'm just gonna. It's basically Friendster's all encompassing right now. Okay, it's Friendster was a social network game based in Mountain View, California, founded by Canadian computer programmer Jonathan Abrams, and is
it's a Canadian. Okay,
and is now based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
So it was made by a Canadian and it's now gone to Malaysia.
Yeah.
So it's got loose connections to both of us.
Exactly.
Yeah. Perfect.
It's weird. But yeah, it was Friendster was founded in Canadian before MySpace 2003, High Five, I don't know what High Five is, and Facebook in 2004. So Friendster was the first apparently because it was founded in 2002 and launched in March 2003.
Yeah. So apparently, in 2018, it closed down as a company and eventually dissolved. So Friendster no longer exists.
It's gone. It's defunct.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. I see how it became a social gaming site, which is basically a site that puts all those game apps and everything in one place that people can get to download. And also buy reloads for it.
By the way, just still glancing through its history, the Friendster name was a combination of the word friend and Napster.
Yeah.
Just to date it even more.
just to bring it all the way back.
Do you remember like that brief period of time when Napster tried to become legitimate?
Yeah, I remember that. I think that's its downfall there.
The saddest thing is though, like there was a chance there. There was a chance there for it to actually be legitimate. Maybe it was even a bit ahead of its time in that regard. Because if you
definitely
think of iTunes, wouldn't that be like the natural successor to a legitimate version of
even Spotify?
Napster?
Even Spotify is
Spotify in some ways is the better example because Spotify allows you to listen to whatever songs you want, but has done so legally.
Yeah, basically that's what Napster tried to do, but it was way ahead of its time. It is too early for it. People were not ready for monthly subscriptions of that nature, I think, at that time.
Although I just into my rabbit hole of Wikipedia now. So Sean Parker was a co-founder for Napster. And then went on to serve as the first president of Facebook. I know him best for being in the Facebook movie.
Yeah, the social network movie.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember.
However, in 2022, he was just short of being one of the 1,000 richest people with a net worth of 2.8 billion.
Oh.
So you know what?
Wait, that's still amazing.
Good on him. Like the guy. What we've discovered is the guy who made
who helped make Napster.
Who helped make Napster, did fine for himself post Napster. The guy who made MySpace, living a great life. So
living large.
Like you think about these websites that have long since failed, or these programs that have long since failed, the people who made them are doing just fine. I don't think that they mind.
I think I remember. I mean, they definitely don't mind, and their stories are pretty popular as well, right? The fact that they made a lot of money from selling off what they make.
Mm-hmm.
So it became a thing for a lot of developers to try to make something that's unique and all that. At that time, especially like I think it was mid 2000s, a lot of people tried to do something so that they can sell it off and then live like, because if you sell off something and make 2 billion out of it, that's a lot of money.
Absolutely. I mean, that would be a dream come true.
I mean, like, if the Vtuber podcast ever gets sold for 2 billion.
Oh man. First off, I don't think a podcast can do that well, but that would be.
Wait, we can't say that. Joe Rogan's podcast got like one hell of a deal with Spotify.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, Spotify, please know that if you ever want to offer us a $2 billion contract, we have a standing thing that we are willing to accept that. Just get in touch with us.
I looked it up. The Joe Rogan deal with Spotify is worth upwards of $200 million. That's $100 each for
amazing. Spending. Nice.
And since we have no other staff
that's
members,
our goal.
That's $100 each for us.
That's our goal then.
Yep.
That's our goal.
Get that Spotify deal.
That's totally obtainable for us.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fun facts before we moved from that topic. So how we were saying that Napster might have been a bit ahead of its time, and Spotify is in some ways like a spiritual successor of Napster.
Yep.
Sean Parker, who we just said was co-founder of Napster, now is a board member of Spotify.
Oh my god. That explains some stuff, I guess.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
He sees the future. He knows he can like go, okay, this Napster thing, it's working, but we were too fast. We gotta slow down. And then it was like Spotify comes up, was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna put my money in on that.
Yeah. The other thing is, are you familiar with Alan Alda?
Yes,
the actor.
Yep, yes, I am.
So Alan Alda was on MASH.
Yep.
Which was a very famous show back from when Asu was a kid.
Yeah, when I was a child.
Yeah.
This is actually true though.
Wait, when did MASH come out?
No. MASH is like much, because they were like what was it? Vietnam years, but
yeah.
It went for like 11 years, which is unheard of for a lot of TV shows these days. But
72 to 3.
Yeah, exactly. So because of that, I think around the final season, I have my consciousness and can watch TV, and did watch a couple of MASH episodes.
I've seen a bit of MASH on reruns because my parents would like turn it on now and then, but the entire run of the show was before my time.
Yep, exactly. So one thing though I gotta say before I mentioned the whole I have conscience and watch TV thing. Malaysia though, at that time, we don't get like if a show comes out in America, we don't get it like that season on the same year. We'd get it maybe next year or the year after that. Acquiring TV shows was a little bit more difficult back then, and it doesn't just happen in like, new season in America, new season in Malaysia, the same time. Nope, we're done. It's not the case. Like Transformers came out in 1983, I think, but it came out in Malaysia in 85. The cartoon. Before people think I'm talking about the Bay movies, I'm talking about cartoons.
You got the Bay movies 20 years before they came out anywhere else.
We got it first.
Yeah. Congrats on that, by the way.
I don't know if that's something to congratulate.
I don't know either.
Okay, I just checked it up. The Transformers cartoon came out in 84, but it was first aired in Malaysia in 85. But I became a fan nonetheless almost immediately after watching the first episode, because oh my god, seeing it for the first time on TV, seeing all these robots turning into vehicles.
God, for some reason I thought you were still talking about MASH.
No. Transformers. Watching the first Transformers for the first time on TV is what I'm talking about. MASH, I couldn't really understand the show because I was too young. But I did watch a couple episodes much later on. I was like, I get it now. This is funny. Yep, this is funny.
Yeah. Well, I was watching a podcast, and Alan Alda talked about like how, like after MASH, he knew that he would never be in something that big again, and that was kind of freeing for him because he could just focus on like whatever he enjoyed. Like it kind of was like, I don't have anything else to prove. I don't have any like records to break kind of thing. Like I've already,
I got like, my peak in kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I've already accomplished the greatest thing that could be hoped for to accomplish. So now I can just do whatever I want. And I feel like just to tie it back to what we were talking about before, like, with Tom from MySpace and Sean Parker, I wonder if there's a bit of that with them where like they had their like big invention,
like they
made their money
anymore. Yeah.
Now they can just do what they're passionate about and focus on that.
They've made their mark basically, and they're like, I'm good with this. So it's just like, that's the thing, right? Okay, we have like someone like Zuckerberg, who's still on Facebook, right? He's doing whatever.
Yes.
He's still strongly on Facebook, trying to innovate Facebook, and slowly realizing how much older he is and how outdated he can be. But then, he's still there. He doesn't want to go out. It's like...
Yes.
And then we have people like Sean Parker, who was like, well, I was on Facebook for a bit. I got screwed over, but then at the same time... you know what, people, I made my mark. I'm good. I made my money. I'm gonna live through this and just do all the philanthropy work that I can do right now.
Yeah, and I don't know Sean Parker, so like it's not as if I can say for certain that that's how he feels. But that's how I like to believe that he feels.
Yeah, I mean, especially since when you think about it,
Yeah, because that's how I'd want to be. Like, if I had like the one big success, or in his case, he's been a part of multiple big successes. But if I had like that one big thing that made me lots of money, then I'd kind of want to take a step back and be like, okay, well, I don't have to do anything for money's sake anymore. Let me just do whatever I want.
Here's the thing, I keep on thinking about stuff like that too. Like I keep on thinking like people who get millions of dollars a month or whatever, because they're like, they have their businesses and all that, so they make a lot of money and stuff like that. Even if they're just YouTubers can get a lot of money too, right?
Yeah. No, there's millionaire YouTubers.
Exactly.
Absolutely, there are.
Exactly. And then I keep on thinking like, my whole lifetime, I'm 40 plus years old.
No, you can say, well, I mean, it's entirely up to you if you want to say it or not.
I'm 40 plus years old. No, because my idea is that my idea as a VTuber, I want people to know me as a 40 plus years old, but never knew how old I actually am in the 40s.
Because you don't want to break the illusion that you could be much older.
Exactly.
Like when someone makes a joke about you existing in the 18th century, you want there to be like a corner of their mind that's like,
is that true?
We can't disprove it. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, He could have ridden side by side with George Washington. We don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean George was a swell guy, but man, he can be boring guy.
Just because the oldest human ever was like something like 124 years old, it doesn't necessarily mean that Asu isn't older and just hasn't been verified, because back when he was born, they didn't. Yeah, back when he was born, there wasn't proper record taking.
Exactly.
It's just the way it was.
And generally, I just gotta say, hand to my heart, truth be told, on God, blah blah blah, all that stuff, right? It's hard to understand Josh Washington. That wooden teeth just makes it hard to. It garbles whatever he says. I think a lot of people who take notes on what he said took it wrongly.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because you are, of course, known as like a historian. I think everyone knows that about you. So, can you name 2 different vice presidents who shot someone while they were in office, like during their term as vice president? Can you name for me 2 vice presidents who shot someone while they were still vice president?
I actually, by shooting someone, you don't mean shooting the president, right?
Not shooting a president, just shooting a person.
Yeah, shooting a person. Okay. I believe George W. Bush. No, George H. Bush. H. Bush.
I don't.
Wasn't he? No, he wasn't.
I don't think he shot anyone while vice president.
No, I don't think he did. No. I'm just putting out names right now. It's vice president names right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really know who did.
Okay,
I was about to say Dan Quayle, but I'm pretty sure Dan Quayle didn't do it too.
I don't think he did either. I can't verify for certain who didn't, but I can tell you 2 people who did.
Henry Kissinger? No, that's not. He was never a vice president.
Henry Kissinger was never a vice president.
But there is the thought that Henry Kissinger might have shot someone as well.
I mean, maybe. I don't know for certain, but he wasn't vice president. So.
He's still alive, by the way, Henry Kissinger. He's still alive.
Is he really?
Yep, he's still alive.
Man, maybe he's the oldest person to ever live.
Oh no, he's 100 years old. He's not the oldest person, but he's getting there.
Yeah. So okay, I will tell you 2. One is Aaron Burr. Do you know who Aaron Burr was?
Aaron Burr. I don't think I know Aaron Burr.
Aaron Burr is the man who shot Hamilton in a duel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you ever watch the Hamilton musical, yeah, which I highly recommend because it's awesome. You will see Aaron Burr in there. The other one that I could name off the top of my head, and I don't know if these are the only 2, but I know at very least these 2. Dick Cheney.
Shot a man. You know what? I should have. Yep. No, I know about Dick Cheney. I forgot he was a former vice president. But I knew about Dick Cheney
while he was vice president. To be fair, he did it accidentally.
Yep.
Dick Cheney didn't mean to shoot that man in the face.
Yep.
But he did.
It was accidental.
He did.
It was accidental. There was a movie as well, so I knew.
There was a movie about Dick Cheney shooting that guy in the face?
No, not they were shooting that guy in the face. Just a Dick Cheney movie itself.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, because I'm like, how could you work like an hour and a half
of that shooting the face thing?
Content out of that? I mean, I don't know. I guess there's probably a way, but like it just doesn't feel like it can be a movie in and of itself.
But no. I knew about that, but I totally forgot about Dick Cheney in general. Holy crap!
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I was at that time in my life when Dick Cheney shot that guy in the face. I was fairly into U.S. politics.
Ah, okay.
So I was. And I was a regular watcher of The Daily Show at the time, and The Daily Show covered that extensively. Yeah,
I mean, it was an accidental because it was
it was accidental, and the guy who got the guy who got shot survived the incident.
Yep. It was non-fatal. It was non-fatal.
Yes, which is important to know, because otherwise it wouldn't be appropriate to find it kind of funny that he shot him in the face. For sure. But because the guy was okay in the end,
it's fine. It's fine for the Daily Show to make jokes about it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it went wild in the talk show circuits. Because
even George Bush made fun of it.
He did?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how aware you are of there's a thing called the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Oh yeah. I know about that.
And traditionally speaking, I don't think Trump ever did it, but outside of Trump, presidents usually have a speech during the White House Correspondents' Dinner where they make jokes.
I don't think Trump went to when he was president.
I don't think he did. No,
there was a correspondent dinner, but I don't think he went there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he never went to them. Mm-hmm. But all the other presidents, at least since the Correspondents' Dinner has been a thing, other presidents have gone, and George W. Bush being one of them. And during his routine, he made light of the incident.
George Bush has a sense of humor.
He has a good sense of humor. Yeah, he hired a George Bush impersonator to come up on stage with him.
Really, he did.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Wonder if it's Dana Carvey. I know Dana Carvey does a George Bush impersonation on...
I don't think it was him. I don't think it was someone... I think it was someone that was known specifically for their George Bush impression. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So... but yeah, I remember George Bush's Correspondents' Dinners being fairly funny.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't seen them in forever, so...
Wasn't it... that's the one. There was one of those years because I know that's like 8 years of George Bush, right?
Yes, yeah, he won re-election, so he got an 8-year term. Or
one of the
4 years.
One of the years that he was a correspondent dinner. Stephen Colbert was a speaker, I believe.
Yes, I think that did happen during Bush's time.
Yep. That's the one where he, to his face, made fun of George Bush and the Republicans to their faces.
Yeah. If memory serves, there was a lot of like cutaways to very unhappy Republicans as he was giving his address. Yeah,
because he was playing it as Colbert, the satire, the satirical character, the Republican satirical character.
Yeah, and I don't know how aware they were that he was going to deliver that kind of speech. I think he had to have his routine approved ahead of time, so I guess someone must have reviewed it and given it the okay.
I feel like George Bush might not have minded the joke so much, but then there was cutaways that he didn't look happy. He didn't look happy on some of the cutaways, so
I don't know. I don't know what the reception was overall. I remember Colbert saying that some of the people that he made fun of came up to him afterwards and said he did a good routine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, those are the ones that has a sense of humor, probably. They understand. They're doing all these stuff, so they understand if you want to make fun of it. Those are the good sense of humor people who are upset about it, and there was people upset about it. I remember that. Those are the ones who took jokes way too seriously. Who, funny enough, later on calls people snowflake for taking things too seriously for the woke thing. It's like, do you even realize what you were before?
By the way, before I forget to remind you, because you were talking about,
I wonder if this is going to
20 minutes
make
ago.
The final cut because it's so political right now.
I don't know. I'll leave that judgment up to you.
No, we're not saying we're Republican or Democrats, just so everyone knows. Because we're not
Canadian.
Even American. Exactly. Because we're not even Americans. So take that.
I mean, if an American disagrees with my political views, well, I can't vote in America anyway, so what do you care?
Exactly. It's not like we have any say to your political, standings.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you wanted to say, by the way, what?
Oh, yeah. You were saying something about YouTube, this being on YouTube.
Yep. So yeah, the idea is
and
that,
then I interrupted you.
No, it's fine.
Much like I'm doing now.
No, it's good. So the idea is... Okay, no interruption. Okay. So the idea is I'm going to upload it on YouTube, but I probably... No, this will probably be in the final cut. Still have no idea whether I want to make its own channel called the Vtuber Podcast. I figured that might be cool, right? To have its own channel instead of one of our channels. We can have co-ownership of the channel or something. I don't know. I think that can work.
I think you can have co-ownership of the channel, yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking if we have its own channel for the Vtuber Podcast, we'll call it the Vtuber Podcast. Good Lord, a lot of people, it's going to pop on so many algorithms.
Yeah, no, that's a good SEO name, hopefully. I don't know.
We'll call it the Vtuber Podcast, the channel, and then, we'll upload this on that. And I might, not 100%, also upload it for Spotify. But those will be audio only, of course.
Yes.
Which is fine because we have no visuals anyway.
Yeah. But we have a visual component, but it is not a necessary visual component.
Exactly. But for those who's listening here on Spotify right now, we still have a YouTube channel. Come subscribe. The Vtuber Podcast. I'm so not sure if we're going to get there or not. But the Vtuber Podcast channel.
Yeah. We should probably get the channel before we advertise the channel, but that's fine.
No, that's fine. We're not live. This is all recorded, so we probably have the channel ready before this goes
live?
up. Yeah, we're not live.
You promised me we'd be live.
Oh, no. The live episodes will be special episodes pending.
But...
like episode 25 or something.
But you promised.
Yeah, that's it. I promise you will be live during the special episodes. Not now. Not the first episode.
But if we're not live, then where are the 100,000 viewers that you said we're gonna be watching us live?
Those are all VOD watchers.
There's still gonna be 100,000 though, right?
It's gonna be 100,000.
Okay.
Eventually.
Okay.
We're gaming the system with the title itself already. VTuber's a big thing on the algorithm. We're gaming the system there already.
What if VTuber stops being a big thing? What if this is the day VTuber dies?
At the moment we upload that, VTuber is no longer in the algorithm.
It stopped being cool. No, that's not true. It stopped being cool a while ago. It's fine.
Oh man. I wonder if that's gonna happen. Okay, this is a bit going into VTuber drama. Well, actually not. I mean, there's a little bit of drama there. So yeah, we know that Vebe, Silvervale, and Yanners did not renew their Vshoujo contract, right?
Yeah.
And then Vebe said that the main reason she didn't renew it is because she doesn't want to be within the Vtuber community anymore. She said that within the Vtuber community, everyone's so sensitive. Everything she says is put on blast. So she can't really say a lot of things like the R word and everything. This is actually true, by the way. I'm not spreading misinformation. This is what she mentioned on stream live.
Yeah.
And because
and
she feels like by not renewing the Vshoujo contract, she can go back to her old viewers, her old community, where it's less of the VTuber community but more of people who want to watch her stream, is what she feels like.
I guess what I'd say to that is people tend to use these generalized terms as kind of catch-all boogeyman, like VTuber community being an example of that.
Yeah.
Or Twitter or Facebook or Reddit or whatnot, and they'll generalize and say like Reddit is like this, or the VTuber community is like this, or Twitter is like this. And when they're referring to it, they're not referring to like the platform, they're referring to the people within it.
Yep.
And in all those cases, it really depends on the specific circumstances, because the VTuber community, just to speak about that specifically for the moment, is too big to be any one thing.
Yeah.
So there's going to be sensitive people within it. There's going to be people that take offense to certain things within it. And then there's also going to be people that feel the exact opposite way.
Yep.
And so to blame the VTuber community for something is just to kind of assign an easy scapegoat, because the VTuber community is like a thing rather than a specific person. Everyone can be like, oh, but she's not actually insulting me, or she's not actually pointing out me, she's pointing out like those other people.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it very easy to kind of paint an us versus them thing, but it doesn't actually have, in my mind, any kind of meaning, because again, like, everyone's going to be different. Like, like to a certain extent, or not to a certain extent, I feel like the reality is there is no one VTuber community. No, in the same way as there is no one Twitch community.
Like, there's like cliques and everything. There's like different communities of VTubing these days. I mean, it used to be, when we first started, it felt like it's a one, you know?
When it was very small, you could maybe make the argument for it, but
even though I think
anytime
it's still
something
separated
gets
as well, that's what some separation as well, I think. But
even then,
it still feels like the overall was like one, you know?
Yeah. So I think probably the reality of the situation is that perhaps VShojo didn't want her to do or say certain things, and not being affiliated with VShojo perhaps gives her more freedom, but that's a separate thing altogether. That's not.
We can't really say for sure if that's the case.
We can't say
well.
for sure, no.
Because for one thing is that VShojo...
I guess my point is, my point is, like, I don't really think that the issue is VTuber community or not, especially because as long as she is streaming with a VTuber model, technically her viewers, whether they are part of the VTuber community. So, you know, but that's the thing. It's the VTuber community is so big and diverse that that to say that to assign any kind of feeling or mentality of it is just to act in like generalizations that are so broad that they become kind of meaningless in my mind.
No, you're right.
Anyways, that's how I kind of feel about that.
I do agree with that. Though I gotta say, with what Vebe is talking about, I do understand what she's saying as well, because she has been streaming before she was VTubing as well, I believe. Yeah. And she had like a different audience back when. Yeah. Like, her audience may have changed. Like, her audience might be more sensitive to certain things now. But I also think that people in general have changed over the last 5 to 10 years. Like, certain things that I'd say
used to be
probably the last 3 years, the pandemic changed a lot of mindset.
I feel like maybe you're right. I think the trend predates that, but it's hard to say. And again, it is like generalizations. I guess the other thing I should point out is it'd be helpful with these kind of discussions if there was some data behind it. Like, if someone did a scientific survey, like a polling that passed, like that was up to snuff, that like said, are you offended by when people say X word, and then they say whatever that word is, and then like you find out like 60% of people are offended by this word, versus like when you did this poll like 3 years ago, only 45%. Then you could see like an actual trend line. I think what you would likely see had that, if those surveys existed, is that over the last 5 to 10 years there has been a trend line towards certain words being less acceptable. than they used to be in just casual conversation. So I think I hypothesize that what they might be experiencing is perhaps not entirely due to her community changing, and perhaps in part due to
society itself.
Yeah. Although that being said, this is all still speculation, and I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we're just like speculating, and even from what I know of what Bebe said, I only got it from clips. I didn't watch the stream or anything like that.
Yeah,
so I'm not even entirely sure
possible
if
that there's
context.
Yeah, it's possible that there's some context. And when I talk about that we're not entirely getting, and when I talk about like the VTuber community thing, I'm not speaking about Bebe's comments exclusively. I'm talking
generally
about that mindset in general, because it's something that it touches a little bit of a nerve with me, because I see a lot of times people blame the media for things. And not to suggest that media outlets bear no responsibility for what they put out, but the reason why I take umbrage with that is because media is too generalized. So it becomes another one of these boogeyman where, like, you don't necessarily have a problem with the media, you perhaps have a problem with a specific article or a specific journalist or even a specific like newspaper or TV station. But to suggest that the entire media is the problem, like the media is too big to be any one thing.
Yeah, and that's I mean, I absolutely
and that's
agree
the same
with the
and that's
community
kind
itself.
of
because there's
that's
like
kind of the
so
same
many
logic.
different people in a community, so many different mindset, different people thinking like, I don't mind that word, and then some other people going like, no, that word offends me. And there are people who goes like, I understand the people who get offended, I understand people who don't. I'm just in the middle. There's also centrists is what they would call it. So
and I guess do you want to talk about like whether or not like the word specifically? Like,
we could if you want to. I mean, if you know what, we're not saying the word in an offensive way. We're just saying it as an example.
Well, we could just refer to it because she was referring to the R word specifically, right?
Yeah, the R word.
Yeah, so I imagine people know what we're referring to.
Yep. Which, by the way, there was a time. This is a tangent thing a bit. I don't know if you know Linus Tech Tips, very famous YouTuber who does a lot of tech videos and stuff.
Oh yeah.
He mentioned because people would say R word to mean the word we're talking about, and people would say the hard R word to talk about a really different word. The hard R.
I don't know what hard R
it's
word is.
the racist word. But how
there's
you
a racist R word?
Yeah, but it's not started with an R, it ends with an R. Because
okay,
exactly. So
okay, now I think I'm on the same page.
Yeah, you know how they would say it in the street slang way, and then there's also the hard R way where it ends with the R, and those are like the even more racist way to say the word, right?
Right.
And Linus Tech Tips at one time was like I don't know if he was on stream or was I think it was on stream, but I only saw a clip of it where he was apologizing and saying like, back in the old days as well, I would just say the hard R word, and casually.
And they thought he was referring to.
He said hard R, and they thought he was referring to the racist word, but he was talking about the word we're talking about.
Right.
And but it was on. He mentioned on stream where like I used to just say the hard R word casually because I think it was fine back then. Nobody really think about it. And then I think on the same stream, his friend explained to him what the hard R means. And
right.
He was looking off screen like, oh wait, no, I don't mean that word. No, what? That's horrible. And he was just like, whoa, back up.
Yeah.
But anyway, just a little tangent that just reminded me of that. But we was like talking about like the R word.
Yeah. I guess like mostly what I'd say is, when I was young, that word, along with some other words that are no longer considered okay, were pretty casual words to throw around at school and stuff.
Yep.
And so
people
at the
would
time,
actually use it as jokes as well, just like,
Yeah.
And of course, some people would use it for like derogatory meaning, of course, but they didn't think of it like a hard derogatory. It's like they would like thinking, this is just something fun to just yell out like stupid or something like that. But
yeah, so at the time I didn't really think much of it, and like of course over time, especially recently, it's become a bit more of a hot topic where there's been pushback against the word, and
yep, which is
against some words.
I applaud that, because it's such.
I get.
I understand using it in a non-malicious talking about people kind of way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people would take it. It's such a like spicy kind of like backstory kind of word.
The thing is,
even
like,
using it
doesn't. In my mind, at least, it doesn't really cost you anything not to say it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, if it hurts someone else, and it's easy for you not to do, then why just not do it? And I guess I can understand some people might say it without thinking because they're just so used to it, and like I don't think that's. I don't think it makes sense to like kind of run someone across the coals for that kind of thing. If, especially like they just were used to saying it, and like they're trying to adjust or whatnot. But that being said, in general, like I don't see anything particularly wrong with just not saying it. Of course, I come from a background, or not a background, but I very rarely say any bad words.
Bad words, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, generally, like I understand what you mean as well. It's like, but at the same time, I also get it. Or when people, I'm not a centrist, by the way, I'm just saying that I get why people feel like it's something that people shouldn't get too offended at.
Yeah, I can also see like there's this mindset that some people have of like, well, if it was okay before, why can't it be okay now? And then also the idea that people are kind of looking for things to get offended by, and I don't know if either of those are entirely true. Like I don't want to again, it's tough because like
it's
you speak it when you speak in generalizations, like you're gonna be wrong in some instances. But I think maybe part of it is less that it was okay before and not okay now, as much as it wasn't necessarily okay back then either. But the people that were offended didn't necessarily have the voice that they have now.
Exactly.
Like
I feel like back then when people get called that, and if they really are that, they do get offended. They do feel hurt, and
or at least some.
Not entirely like everyone, but I feel like back then they would feel hurt, but they can't express it because there's no way to really express other than just saying outright. But then when it's in a movie, right? Like someone saying it through a movie, which is why a lot of people like to say it as a joke kind of thing, because some movies would say it as a joke, and then people and then you can't say to these people in the movie like, hey, I feel hurt when you say that, because the movie's already recorded, they're done, the thing is out, so you can't really say it to that, right? But now there's all these platform that I feel like the people who are hurt, they have a space now to just go like, hey, that line you said in the movie there hurts me, please stop saying that, kind of thing. So I understand that as well. Like people, this word is the level never really changed. The level of I guess offensiveness, for lack of a better word, never really changed, right? It's just that people now can. It's just that now you can see people's reaction to the word.
Yeah, I think the other thing I think about when I think about these things is, like, I never know how much I should really be talking about it, because it's one of those things where
we don't really like affected kind of
I'm
thing.
not really I'm not really affected either way. So if I express an opinion, am I essentially just speaking for other people when I shouldn't be?
I understand that.
Yeah,
but again,
like
generally though, for me, I feel like if we're just expressing our opinion, it's just expressing what we think, but we're not saying like we're speaking for people kind of thing,
Yeah,
it's just what we think, and that's fine.
Yeah,
but of course that's
and
for me. I'm not saying that everybody thinks like I do though.
Yeah, and just because, like, just to add on to this, because this of course started from a conversation about Vebe. I don't know Vebe, but at least not well. But I don't have any reason to believe that she's doing anything maliciously or not.
I don't think so. I think it's more like
I don't think
it's almost like being edgy, but without but not wanting to be offensive. Yeah,
and I imagine, like, she's coming from a good place. Like I imagine, because at the end of the day, like streamers are entertainers. Like I imagine a big part of her goal is to do things that make people happy. Yeah. So like when you're going in it with that mindset, like I think I think there's some desire not to feel limited in what you can do to make people laugh.
Yep.
And so I don't know her that well, so I don't know what her perspective on all this is, or even how important this is to her to begin with. But like I can understand that rationale of like feeling like you want to make people laugh, and like you feel like it's a limiting factor. Although that being said, I don't know. I don't feel like it's that limiting a factor to just exclude certain words, but maybe, I don't know.
But I guess it's up to the individual on what they feel like is comfortable. Like maybe, well, not comfortable. What they feel like is something of a repertoire for them.
Yeah,
it's something like I should be able to say this because this is how I am. Kind of feel.
I really didn't think we'd end up talking about anything heavy.
I mean, like, we might. That's the thing about this podcast. Anything goes.
What did we even start talking about? What was our first topic?
Oh, I actually wanted to. Actually, I can't remember what our first topic was. We got to talk about MASH even.
Yeah.
What was
you know what? I think we started with like Star Trek somehow.
Oh yeah, Lower Decks.
Yeah, we were talking about Lower Decks. We talked about Twitter.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Somehow politics and does this count as social justice? I don't know if this falls under the category of social justice.
It's only social justice if we're championing it, but we're not really championing it. We're just putting out like our thoughts on this.
Yeah.
We're not condemning Vebe at all.
Yeah, no, the point of this was not to pick a fight about Vebe.
Yeah, we're not at all.
We were just tangenting off of like what happened before, and now we're reviewing our tangents.
Yep. So I actually wanted to mention that whole thing I mentioned, why I mentioned Vebe, right? How she, community thing. It's like it feels like streamers are starting to think like Vebe, and Vebe is like starting to think like she doesn't want to be VTuber, but she still wants to stream with an avatar. like a
she
VTuber.
wants to stream with the avatar, but she doesn't like the label VTuber.
Yes, I feel like there might be something like. Oh yeah, I remember now why we were talking about this. We were talking about this because we were saying maybe VTuber might not be cool anymore.
Yeah. I've heard that from other people too, where the stream with an avatar, but they don't really want to be called a VTuber because they don't like the connotation of the word.
Yeah.
And I have wondered if, like, at some point, like, streaming with avatars is just going to be like another tool like any other and not necessarily have a genre attached to it, because already VTubing is awfully diverse. Yeah. So it's as much of I guess it really isn't a genre, it's a medium in
true
kind of the same way that anime is a medium. Obviously they're very different things. Yep. but in the same way that VTubing can encompass like a lot of different types of things.
It's a medium between content creators. Like different type of content creators kind of thing.
So I don't necessarily think that VTubing itself will die, but I could see like the word being used less in practice.
Yeah, like
people will stream with avatars, and maybe people will stream with avatars, but only stream with the avatars some of the time.
Yes, exactly.
Or whatnot.
Though I feel like there might be people who will go into it like full time with avatar, but it might be like not a lavish anime avatar. Like they feel they like sort of like a cartoon version of them kind of thing, kind of avatar. Yeah. And then and you know they won't consider it VTubing because of that. Some
streamers already done that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they go that route, they might think, and then these people might not think of them as VTubers because of that. They go like, oh no, I'm just using an avatar. This is just an avatar myself. I'm not being an anime guy or anything.
Yeah, well, makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. Of course, then at the same time, you do have like Hololive and Ninja Sanji.
Yep.
And as long as the stick with the label of VTuber, I think that the term will still see considerable use because those companies are huge in and of themselves. Yeah. So, and the at least Hololive, I can't speak to Ninja Sanji as much.
Ninja Sanji is kind of big. It's pretty big as well. Pretty big, but
no, I didn't mean it in that way.
Oh,
I didn't mean that Ninja Sanji wasn't big. I meant sorry, because I interrupted myself mid thought. Hololive likes their VTubers to stay in character, at least to a point. Where like when Gura refers to her childhood, she'll refer to like the time when she was like a young shark or that kind of thing.
Yeah,
like a baby Goomba. And I don't know if Ninja Sanji does that as well. Like at the same time, it's like they don't adhere to it extraordinarily strictly. Like when the Hololive meet up, they still talk about like having met up with each other in Japan or whatnot. So it's not like they're trying to maintain a character to the same level that Kizuna Ai was trying to maintain a character.
Like how Kizuna Ai was like, I'm just in virtual world, I'm not in the real world kind of thing. No, I don't like they have their character, they maintain a certain like thematicness to their character, but they don't put it like into its own world kind of thing. Like it's still here in the real world, and but then you know, even though say like some like say Mori Calliope is from the underworld or whatever, but she's like I'm from the underworld, but here I am in Japan kind of thing. She would still mention that, but Kizuna Ai would never go like I'm in America right now, but not the virtual world. No, Kizuna Ai would never go that. Even if Kizuna Ai appears in, say, Anime Expo, she would still mention the fact that she's in the virtual world.
Plus, I think Hololivers have even talked about like the tech that they use, haven't they?
They have some of them. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like when Mokopi first came out, the motion tracking device thing, and because Hololive also has some investment in Mokopi.
they have like their own tech that they use, right?
That's for capturing, yes. But the Mokopi device for like the device that you put the trackers, right? Hololive actually has an investment on Mokopi as well. Like, when Mokopi first came out, they openly said that, hey, we're streaming with Mokopi right now. And they don't make it like, hey, I'm moving around in 3D, because I'm a real life thing. But no, they don't say that. They actually say like, hey, I'm on Mokopi right now. We're using a motion tracker. So they would openly say that. But something like Kizuna Ai would never say that. They would never say like, oh, we're using this motion tracker to do this and that, because the immersion for Kizuna Ai is the fact that she's in the virtual world. Even when she live streams, she still keeps it as best as possible.
I remember when VTubing was still new enough that like even in Japan there was like those little VTuber documentaries.
Yeah.
And I saw one, and they had an interview with Kizuna Ai for that documentary, but Kizuna Ai stayed in character for the entirety of the interview.
Whole time? Amazing. I haven't seen that documentary.
I'd have to like kind of dig it up, because it would have been like, what, 5 years ago or so that I saw it?
Probably like 2018.
Yeah.
But so that's the big difference. And also I guess that's also a big difference, mainly because Kizuna Ai being a video content creator and not a streaming main content creator, so it's slightly easier to keep character.
Exactly. When you have a script, it's easier to maintain a character.
Yep.
Like when I started, like back when I first started pending, my basic idea was all the skits would be in character because there was a script there. So pending would be a character separate of me. And then when I stream, like I'm just streaming as me.
Yep.
So
because there is a very distinct difference between streaming pending and the video series pending.
Yeah,
because
we share some things.
Yeah, especially with how clueless video series is and how well aware you are as a person.
Thank you. Yeah. Also, like, if this was a video, like, pending would like maintain the character that he is an angel. Whereas if I'm in stream, I don't necessarily do that.
Yep. I mean, though I think when I remember the Hero Talk interview I used to do way back around 2020,
where you interview me in character.
Yeah, because the idea behind that interviewing
that was an interesting challenge.
Yeah, program series, because the idea is that I want to interview the VTubers, but as their character. So I'll be asking questions only for their characters, nothing to do with like the tech or whatever's behind them or what their human history is and everything, nothing to do with that. And it was not easy.
I remember, because the other thing about pending, especially that iteration of pending, was that iteration of pending was 10 years old. Yeah. So whenever I wasn't sure how to answer one of your questions and I needed some time to think, I would just ask you to define one of the words.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So that way, that gave me a little bit. Yeah, that gave me a little bit more time to think.
But I remember. With every people that I asked to interview, I would always before the interview day, I asked them like, do you want me to give you what my questions are gonna be, or are you going to just wing it on the day? And I remember you were like, I'm gonna wing it.
Yeah, it was fun it was a fun thing to try, because I mean, obviously when I'm doing the skits, I write the script, so I have I know what pending would say to certain things, but to do it on the spot was tougher.
Yeah. And here's the funny thing. most people, wait, I think, yeah, no, everyone, not most people, everyone did not ask for the questions beforehand. They all were like, we're gonna wing it.
That's cool.
Yep. I wonder if this is the case also. It's like, because the idea with giving the questions beforehand is so that, and I don't want their answers. I don't want them to tell me the answers. I just want them to know what the question is, so that they can prepare themselves when I ask them. But then I also told them that there might be follow-up questions to whatever you answer, so you gotta prepare for that. And I think because I say that, they start thinking, you know what, might as well just wing the first one, because if I'm gonna wing the second one anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Plus, like, if you knew the question, if the person knew the questions ahead of time and had already mapped out what their answers are going to be, then there's the risk of it sounding kind of stiff.
Yeah, true. And it works out though. That was a fun interview series to do. But
it would be
there was an error with the DEET. The reason why I've stopped the interview series is because...
Wait, what happened?
Huh?
What happened? Why did you stop?
So I stopped it because the DEET interview, there was an error in the recording, and I don't know how to salvage it. So that's why the DEET interview has not been on my page, or my YouTube page.
That's... Oh my god.
Yeah, and that was the last interview.
Really?
That was the last interview, yep.
Because you know how I know you know this, but just to relay this to other people, that's an amazing coincidence, because I for a bit of time was doing a series called Better Know a VTuber.
I remember that.
I interviewed Asu for that.
Yeah, well, you did. It was fun.
Yeah. And I did one for DEET. I had it all recorded. I had it all edited. I hit the render button, and my computer exploded.
Oh no, it was during that time. Oh,
it exploded while rendering. And I lost everything.
Oh man. And it's so demoralizing to lose the whole thing.
It is. It is, and like
sorry, DEET, we're sorry.
Yeah. Well, 3 or so years later, I did a stream of Better Know a VTuber.
Yeah.
So finally, after all that time had happened, but like after that one, I just like stopped doing Better Know a VTuber for a while. Yep.
So
I think the other,
my recording went off, right? And it was during my editing of DEET's video, and usually when I do a interview, I edit the video like about like during the week, and then I upload it in the next weekend on YouTube. So the interview goes live on Twitch. Next weekend you see it on YouTube, right? That happens for the first 7 episodes. And then on the DEET episode, there was something, I got busy on that week, so I couldn't do it yet. So I had to delay the editing of DEET's video. And then, but then when I got back to it, and then midway, the recording was like off and everything. And I was like, oh my God, what happened here? Oh, well, I'll just grab it on Twitch. But I did not have Prime at that time, and the VOD was already deleted.
Oh no, yeah.
So that's why I was like, so this is lost forever.
Yeah.
And that demoralized me so much that I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. I've since gotten OneDrive, so that I have cloud storage of my stuff. So that if like my computer explodes again, at least
there's some backup.
I won't lose as much.
Yeah. Though with my kids, the recording itself was in error. So I couldn't do it, even if I were to upload that to like an online storage service.
Yeah.
It'll still be the recording error there. And the one on Twitch was the perfect one, but the VOD was already taken out. So And that was just like a bunch of like things happening, and that one episode, that's why that episode still to this day 3 years later still not uploaded, which makes me really sad because I enjoyed doing this hero talk. And several years after that, almost every year, I keep on saying I want to make season 2. But then I also, every time I wanted to make it though, there's always that nagging thought in my head, like, oh, but there was that Deed episode that got lost. Should I make season 2 anyway without the Deed episode? You know?
You know what? What if you made season 2 and for the first episode you interviewed the ghost of Deet? Yes, Steve. Like, would you be willing to come back on
and re-interview yourself?
But this time,
as the ghost.
You're a ghost.
That's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll think about that. Do I remember?
I am not a ghost.
I'm not a ghost. What are you talking about? I'm not dead.
But I am not dead.
As a VTuber, but even as a VTuber, I'm still alive.
No, he'd probably say something self-deprecating.
Yeah, true. No, but you're good, Deed. You're good.
We believe in you, Deed.
Yeah, we believe in you. You're a good guy, Deed. Okay.
Yeah.
You're good, and you do have talent. Don't sell yourself short.
Yes.
Now, before we end this, and we will end it. I don't know. We have no real outro yet. Do we want to come up with it right now? Though if it's funny,
Why is it when I tried to come out with an outro, my first thought was, remember to be good, stay healthy, stay hydrated, and always enjoy the future.
Because
I don't know why
I still, after 4 years, still use that outro myself.
You know what? I'm a little jealous because like I never had an outro, so I just started doing the boop thing at the end of my.
I mean, it works out. People say boop in chat now when it was about to go off.
Yeah.
Well. So that's
I'm glad it's
working
on.
out. Yeah, exactly. That's working out. In my case, we're still gonna be we're still in the podcast right now, so we're still talking about this. When we're talking about outros. When I wanted to debut as a VTuber, I was like making sure that, because I was watching like Kizuna Ai, Himehina, all these non-streamers, and their videos always has outros, right?
Yes.
And that's why I was like, I gotta have an outro.
Yes.
And so I came up with those whole, and then Harune was the one EN VTuber that has an outro. At that time. Because she would morning, noon, night, blah 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 blah, and all that. The line that she always says at the end of her streams.
Yeah, and then she also like, thank you for stopping by. It's my little corner of the internet.
Exactly.
Our little corner of the internet.
Yep. And that's why I was like, okay, I gotta have an outro. So I a whole bunch of like lines. I threw out all the dumb ones, and came up with that one. But I update later on, putting the stay hydrated thing.
I threw out all the dumb ones except for one.
Yeah. I mean, my outro started as just enjoy the future, citizens. That was the outro.
And it kept getting longer.
Yep. It just get added on as time goes on. Now it's just stay good, stay healthy. Don't forget to hydrate whenever you can, and of course to always enjoy the future, citizens.
Yes.
I think it started as to enjoy the future, then remember to enjoy the future, and then stay good and enjoy the future. And then later on, I put in the hydrated thing because I thought, hey, people, this hydrate thing seems to be a trend.
Yeah, people really enjoy watering their streamer.
Yeah, so I was like, stay hydrated. It just got longer, and now we have the outro that I have now.
What if our outro is, until the next time we think of something to talk about, I've been pending, and this has been Asu.
That's amazing. I love that. Let's do that.
All right, great. Should I say it again? Or
yes. Say it again.
Okay. Until the next time we think of something to talk about, I've been Pending.
And this is Asu.
Yeah!
We'll see you around, everybody. Enjoy the future, heroes.
Boop.